The home of Senator Larry Young. Tyrone, you can speak up. You're on You're on. I started to say Politics Nation. You're on Keeping It Real with Sharpton and Austin.
Yes, Representative Sharpton, I'm glad you're speaking on the topic. A lot of people don't realize the impediment that actually put the person's way once they enter the criminal justice system. For instance, when I was getting and I'm not a criminal, but I get it. I totally get it. And it needs to be talked about because mass incarceration is really a form of social control, much like slavery and other devices they use to keep us in our place. And then you not only do time on the inside, you do time on the outside. And we restrict with things like devices like the war on drugs to incarcerate mass numbers of African Americans. And basically, that's why they call it the new Jim Crow, because you don't have to say, look, I'm not going to hire you because you're black. You say, I'm not going to hire you because you got a record. Okay, you still.
And see, there are two books, and stay with me, Tyrone. There are two books that people ought to read if they don't read anything else. The New Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander, and they need to read Slavery by Another Name, where the book, The Slavery by Another Name, brings out this whole point of how right after slavery, and they were trying to end Reconstruction, the way they did it was bring in harsh criminal justice laws, Tyrone, re-arrested blacks who had just been freed from slavery on things like vagrancy, low-level criminal acts, which was their version of, at that time, of broken windows, so to speak, and giving you a lot of time on them, and then having you work for outside interest that they would have the money, which made slaves by any other name. It is a money system for individuals, but the government is burdened with this, and the people's lives and their families' lives are ruined.
Yes, Reverend Sharpton, I'm quite aware of what you're talking about. They actually put people on chain gangs for stuff like reckless eyeball. Look at that,
right.
Look at that white woman too hard, not stepping off the stair for a black, for a white person, and all this kind of stuff. But that's because there's a loophole in the Constitution that allows for slavery. Read the 13th Amendment. It says slavery is abolished except as punishment for a crime. A lot of people have never read it. Most likely, 90% of them probably have never read it. But slavery is actually legal in this country. As per the 13th Amendment.
Yeah, but they in many cases never read it. Thank you for your call, Tyrone. They never, in many cases, read it, Jennifer. What I'm trying to get people to understand is that this is a pattern that the right wing has always used. If they have to step one step away from slavery or discrimination, then they use the hardening of criminal justice and incarceration to use that as a cheap to no labor base, and as a way for socialization in this country, separating people by class and being able to legally separate them. As Tyrone said, so I don't tell you can't come in the neighborhood. I make a law against people with a record, and I don't have to worry about you living in my area. And I don't have to worry about you being able to bank with me and all. This is a strategy. I don't need to go to the Constitution and find some obscure thing. This is a policy and political strategy that has been used throughout American history.
And what we have to appreciate today is that now it's kind of captured or captioned under the criminalization of poverty. That, like the research has shown, nearly 40% of all crimes are directly attributable to poverty, and that the vast majority of incarcerated individuals are low-income individuals. And what we're seeing is a return to police activities and arrests and trials and or fines, warrants that cause people to wind up in jail for things what they used to call debtors' prisons. So where you start imprisoning people who are unable to pay their debts, and debts that sometimes result from fines and fees. Like if you have failed to pay child support and you get a fine, and then those fines begin to mount. If the police pick you up and there's a warrant for your arrest in connection with your failure to pay child support, then you can be jailed, and ultimately you might be in prison. And the fact of the matter is that it may not be that you've done something violently. It may be that you are a low-income person that doesn't have the resources to pay for it. Now, I'm not saying that people shouldn't be paying child support, but what I'm saying is that it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to wind up in prison for an extended period of time. Excessive punishment that we see of black and brown children and poor people in connection with the school-to-prison pipeline. We are seeing an uptake in the arrest of homeless people, and even people who feed the homeless are getting warrants. And so these are activities that aren't violent in nature, and they're activities that we see are centered on helping poor people or addressing the issues of poor people. If we worked on poverty, maybe we wouldn't be so quick to try to criminalize people for poverty. But it's a way of getting money, it's a way of getting cheap labor, as you just talked about, and keeping people in the system and keeping them down. And to that point about prisons and what's going on there,